One sentence. Just one. Yet it was enough to shatter every assumption Bruce Lee had about the world he thought he knew. A single utterance from a Hollywood executive made his blood run cold, stripped away the illusion, and revealed the unspoken, raw truth behind the glittering facade of the entertainment industry. For years, Bruce had believed he understood Hollywood, its workings, its opportunities, its politics. But in that moment, the truth hit him like a punch straight to the gut. Hollywood was not just a machine for making movies. It was a fortress of power, control, and selective vision, and he had just realized he was an outsider, no matter how talented, no matter how brilliant, no matter how disciplined. It was September 1971. The air in the conference room at Warner Brothers was calm, almost deceptively so. Polish would gleam under the fluorescent lights, the table perfectly arranged, papers neatly stacked. Across from him sat Tom Kuhn, a Warner Brothers executive whose expression was neutral, professional, rehearsed even. Between them, a manila folder rested like a sleeping predator, unassuming yet carrying the weight of fate itself. Bruce Lee, at 31, had spent years perfecting every move, every philosophy, every gesture that he could bring to life on screen. This was supposed to be a routine meeting, a discussion of contracts, schedules, and episode breakdowns of the series he had poured his soul into. And yet, the contents of that folder would rip through his assumptions, demolish expectations, and redraw the map of power in his life forever. He had fought for this moment, earned it with discipline, sweat, and sheer genius. From his earliest days in Hong Kong to his painstaking training in Los Angeles, Bruce had honed a philosophy, a system of movement, and a vision of martial arts on screen that had never existed before. He had demonstrated it for executives, producers, and potential collaborators, earning admiration and awe. But admiration was never the same as authority. And authority, he would learn, was something Hollywood reserved for its chosen faces, its carefully curated, relatable stars. As the folder opened, the silence was nearly unbearable. Bruce's heart beat faster, a mixture of anticipation and cautious optimism coursing through his veins. "We've made our casting decision for Kung Fu," said Tom, voice steady, deliberate, as though preparing to reveal something monumental. For a moment, Bruce leaned forward, hope flickering in his eyes. This was it. Clarity. Recognition. Finally, he thought, they see me. They understand the work I've done, the vision I bring, the philosophy I live. And then came the words that would mark the turning point in his life. David Carradine for the lead role. The syllables hung in the air like a heavy fog, unexpected, suffocating, irreversible. Bruce blinked, momentarily frozen. His hands rested on the table, fists unclenched but tense, as if the simple act of holding them still required effort. This was not a secondary choice, a compromise, or a, perhaps later, scenario. This was their first choice. David Carradine. The name echoed in Bruce's mind, clashing violently with every expectation he had nurtured over years of preparation. He kept his face calm, betrayed only by the sharp glint behind his eyes. Cold, calculating, a storm gathering beneath the surface. "I'm sorry, what?" His voice, calm on the surface, carried the weight of disbelief tinged with a slowly growing recognition of betrayal. "David Carradine will be playing the Shaolin monk," Tom repeated, firm yet almost apologetic, as if delivering a verdict that had been predetermined, sealed long before Bruce walked into the room. The network feels he's the right choice for American television. Bruce's gaze fell to a manila folder, where his own handwriting stared back at him. Notes on Taoist philosophy, sketches of precise movement techniques, frameworks for a character he had spent over a year cultivating alongside writer Sterling Silliphant and producer Fred Winrob. Everything had poured into this project, every nuance, every philosophical insight, every demonstration of movement and martial technique, was now, in the eyes of Hollywood, dispensable. "I created this," he whispered, voice low, controlled, but burning with something raw and unyielding. "The demonstrations in this office that caught your attention, that was me. The philosophy, the movement, the whole concept of how this character resolves conflict, avoids unnecessary violence, uses force only when unavoidable, I built that." They tried to placate him. "We're grateful for your contributions as a consultant," they said. But Bruce cut through it like a razor. David Carradine had never studied martial arts. He said bluntly, the implications were immediate and clear. Hollywood wanted the wisdom without the face, the power without the source, the philosophy divorced from the practitioner. This was extraction. This was their game. And in that moment, sitting across from polite, confident executive, Bruce Lee understood a truth he had been circling for years. He had been building their empire while believing he was building his own. Every demonstration, every note, every philosophical insight had been harvested and repackaged, ready to be handed off to someone else, someone acceptable to American audiences. He wasn't being rejected because he lacked talent. He was being rejected because he didn't fit the image Hollywood had predetermined for the hero. The weight of it hit him like a tidal wave. Every audition, every minor role, every compromise, every small success that felt like progress, they weren't steps forward. They were extractions, pieces of his power taken under the guise of mentorship, collaboration, or inclusion. And yet, beneath the anger, beneath the disbelief, a new clarity began to form. If Hollywood would not allow him to succeed on their terms, he realized, then he would create his own path. He would take the knowledge, the philosophy, and the mastery they sought to exploit, and he would use it to build a system where they had no authority. This was the moment where Bruce Lee's true power began to take shape. Not on screen, not in Hollywood offices, but within himself, as a man refusing to be contained, packaged, or ignored. Bruce Lee's path to Hollywood had always been unconventional. Born in San Francisco but raised in Hong Kong, he was a bridge between two worlds, fluent in both Eastern and Western culture, yet never fully embraced by either. From an early age, he displayed a rare combination of physical dexterity, intelligence, and relentless curiosity. Martial arts were more than just combat techniques to him. They were a philosophy, a way of life, a lens through which to understand movement, discipline, and human potential. By his 20s, Bruce had already begun to codify what would later become the foundation of his revolutionary approach. Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. It was in 1964, at the Long Beach International Karate Championships, that Bruce first tested the waters of the American martial arts scene. He positioned himself just 1 inch from a volunteer's chest and, with a controlled explosion of power, sent the man flying backward. The crowd erupted in astonishment. This was more than spectacle. It was science, philosophy, and artistry in motion. Among the audience was Jay Sebring, a hairstylist of Hollywood elites like Steve McQueen and Paul Newman, who immediately recognized that Bruce was more than a performer. Bruce was a teacher, a revolutionary in human movement, a visionary of martial expression. But Hollywood wasn't ready for someone like him. Even as the crowd cheered, even as insiders whispered their admiration, Bruce encountered the same pattern that would define his early Hollywood experience. Fascination coupled with reluctance. The system wanted his expertise, his demonstrations, but they were unwilling to commit to him as the face of that power. The admiration he received was transactional, selective, and ultimately limiting. He had glimpsed the first cracks in what would later become his crystal-clear understanding of Hollywood's mechanisms. Talent alone was never enough. By 1966, Bruce secured a contract with 20th Century Fox to play Kato, the sidekick in the Green Hornet television series. On paper, it seemed like a breakthrough, a foothold in American television. Yet the reality was a harsh lesson in the industry's limitations. Bruce's face was hidden behind a mask for half of the scenes. His dialogue was altered to broken English, despite his fluency, because the producers believed that was more authentic for the audience. The show lasted only 1 season. To Bruce, it was initially a disappointment of timing, luck, or perhaps lack of opportunity. But with hindsight, he realized that these moments were not isolated. They were all pieces of a pattern. Hollywood appreciated his talent in controlled doses, never fully trusting him to carry the narrative. They wanted the spectacle, not the substance, the performance, not the person behind it. Undeterred, Bruce sought alternative avenues. He opened a martial arts school in Chinatown, Los Angeles, catering to Hollywood's elite. Students like Steve McQueen, James Coburn, and Roman Polanski flocked to him, paying hundreds of dollars per session, not only for physical training, but for philosophy and discipline he offered. He became Sephew to these insiders, a revered teacher who could shape the physicality and mindset of actors who would later command significant screen presence. Bruce's methods were revolutionary. The two-finger push-up, the one-inch punch, the intercepting fist. But more than the moves, he imparted principles, Taoist philosophy, efficiency in motion, the concept of using no way as way. Hollywood stars admired him, yet the system itself remained closed to him. They absorbed his wisdom privately, but refused to translate it into public visibility or leading roles. By 1969, he had a brief screen appearance in Marlowe, a mere 3 minutes portraying a villain who destroyed an office with high kicks. The director adored his work, requesting that he repeat his signature scream and explosive techniques. Bruce did so, performing with precision and control, cashing his paycheck, and adding yet another notch to a career that consistently demonstrated excellence and originality. And yet, the roles remained marginal, the recognition incomplete. The industry was simultaneously dependent on his innovation and indifferent to his presence. Through these experiences, Bruce began to perceive Hollywood not as an open opportunity, but as a selective, self-protective ecosystem. Talent, skill, and innovation were not enough. The system demanded conformity to an image that excluded him, no matter how exceptional he was. It was not about audience preference, he would later recognize as fully, but about Hollywood's own comfort, their unwillingness to challenge preconceived notions of race, identity, and relatability. They wanted the movement without the master, the philosophy without the practitioner, the effect without the source. And Bruce, brilliant and observant, began to see this as a challenge to be solved, not a defeat to be mourned. By 1970, a turning point appeared. Writer Sterling Silliphant approached him with an idea, a television series about a Shaolin monk. For the first time, Bruce was not auditioning for someone else's vision. He was co-creating from scratch. He spent months developing every element: fight choreography, movement principles, Taoist philosophy, and the very character's moral and psychological framework. Bruce demonstrated his one-inch punch in studio meetings, explained the philosophical underpinnings, and wrote the blueprint for how the protagonist should think, move, and resolve conflict. Warner Brothers executives were impressed and ordered a pilot. Naturally, Bruce assumed he would star. Every component of the show came from him, every idea, every move, every insight. Yet unbeknownst to him, they had already begun auditioning white actor for the role. The extraction of his work, the pretense of collaboration, and the preordained selection of a lead would soon make itself painfully clear. By the time Bruce walked into the meeting with Tom Kuhn in September 1971, he had years of insight, experience, and frustration coalescing into one undeniable understanding. Hollywood's structure was built to consume talent without fully acknowledging it. He had seen it at Long Beach, in the Green Hornet, in minor film roles, and in private instruction. And in that conference room, as he heard the words David Carradine, Bruce Lee recognized the full scope of the system that had been using him all along. It was not personal cruelty. It was extraction. It was power. And he was about to decide how to respond. And there you have it. The story of how Bruce Lee turned Hollywood's rejection into unstoppable power. He didn't just adapt. He built his own system, proved the world wrong, and became the hero everyone said they wouldn't accept. From the big boss to Enter the Dragon, Bruce redefined martial arts, action cinema, and the idea of what it means to take control of your destiny. What's incredible is that he didn't just fight on screen. He fought for respect, representation, and creative freedom. And the lesson? Sometimes, the best way to win is to stop asking permission and start building your own path. If you found Bruce's journey as inspiring as I did, smash that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about people who change the world by refusing to play by the rules. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.